let's talk about Arizona State. Kenny Dillingham in his first year. I mean, you lost Emory Jones. Who cares? Jaden Rashada last week was announced the starting quarterback of this team, and that came as a shock to a lot of people, including members of this show, aka myself. I was shocked, first of all, because all I heard was like really good things about Bourget Bourgeois, Trenton Bourgeois or Bourget. I think it's Bourget. I know Drew Pine's been hurt, so I was like, oh, maybe Jaden Rashad takes over Drew Pine's spot on the depth chart. But man, the fact that he is starting day one for this team, that tells me that they might have a guy, and it's not going to come without growing pains for sure. But look, last year, the coaching staff gave up. They did completely. That's not going to be the case this year, right? You got new coaching staff, a lot of new pieces though. Was it 50 new scholarship players in this team? Gosh, lots of transfers. So I don't know, especially like wide receiver. I think they're actually fine at wide receiver. I think
Good group.
like better than people think, right? Elijah Badger was pretty good for them. Gio Sanders, get that guy on the field. I don't know. I think this offense could show some flashes for sure, especially if Jaden Rashada is that guy. You know, Florida fans are going to be shaking their head if he starts popping off big time. Yeah, when they lose, they lost in the O-line a little bit, but they got like 6 transfers on the offensive line. So they obviously saw that as a need. They went in there. I think Aaron Frost might be pretty decent from Nevada. He's going to probably play there right tackle if I had to guess, maybe guard, but I think he's going to play right tackle for them. So it's really tough to evaluate this team, for me at least. There's just so many pieces that are coming in. I do believe in Kenny Dillingham, though. I think that was a good hire.
Oh, I thought it was a great hire. And I think, talking about that O-line, I do think it's not going to help Jaden Rashada, especially breaking in, a young quarterback. You'd love for him to have, trust in his O-line. Like you said, they brought in some guys. So obviously they addressed it. And how consistent will they be? How deep are they? If they had to bring in 6 guys. The problem there is the good part is Kenny Dillingham, we know, has had success with below average offensive lines. I mean, if you look back to when he was at Florida State, that was a terrible offensive line, and they put up numbers, him and, when he was there. But yeah, I think as an Arizona State fan, I think the win column doesn't super matter. It's about his Jaden Rashada guy and Kenny Dillingham himself as well. I think that's what you're going to be looking for. If you make a bowl game, you make a bowl game. I think we'll learn real quick about this team and Jaden Rashada week 2, Oklahoma State. That's an awesome game. Oklahoma, like we talked about, the Pac-12 did a real good job of, finding some out of conference exciting games to play in with Arizona, Mississippi State, and then Arizona State playing Oklahoma State. Jake Smith declared ineligible, was tough for the wide receiver group, but it's still a good group. Like, it's deep, like you said. Xavier Guillory is a guy I want to highlight from Idaho State. Sounds like he was a hit there. He might be their wide receiver 1, alpha in the group that Jaden Rashada can lean on. And then even their tight end too, Jalen Conyers, is a good player.
Very good player.
And he'll be Jaden Rashada's best friend there. A big, trustworthy tight end. And then also got Bryce Peter behind him. Has looked really well as well there. So offensively, Kenny Dillingham got some pieces there. Should be a fun group. Defensively, last year was bad. I mean, you see all that red on the right side of your screen there. I mean, that was about as accurate as it could be, because the coaching was bad, the players were bad, the scheme was. I mean, everything needs to be changed. And they got some defense in the secondary. They got some pieces there with Ro Torrance and Demetrius Ford at corner, and then Jordan Clark. They're talented, or they're veteran. Nickel there. But we'll see. What do you think about defense?
Look, I think they did their best, right? I think they're lacking big time in the interior defensive line and also the linebacking core, which to me normally screams red flag. It really does normally. But I will say, because this conference is such a quarterback heavy conference, you have to prioritize getting to the quarterback. And I think they have some edge talent there. I mean,
Hmm.
am I wrong there? I think they might have some guys on the edge that can get to the quarterback.
They almost have too many guys. I think they're even talking about moving some guys, from defensive end into the interior because I don't know if they trust the depth there either.
Yeah. So in the secondary, I mean, it can't get a whole lot worse than it was last year. Again, like we have on the screen, Will Torrance, Jordan Clark. Those are good guys to have. I think they really like Xavier Alford from USC. He looks pretty good. I guess that's what I've been hearing.
Well,
And
so Xavier Alford, sounds
oh,
like
he
he's
was.
not going to have
Yep.
eligibility. Again, one of those other players
Read
that
that.
transferred.
But Chris Edmonds, I've
Yep,
also been hearing looked very, very good in camp as well.
he's
So
back. Shamari Simmons is the guy from Austin P. That's probably going to be alongside
yeah.
Edmonds.
So yeah, Xavier Alford, even though like you said, even though he's out, I don't have a problem there. Maybe the depth, that's more of a depth concern, I'd say, having Xavier Alford not play. But I think the secondary, it'll be a little bit better. But for me, this pick, I lean under. The schedule is pretty brutal. To me, that's the thing that makes this tough evaluation as well as the schedule, right? And like you said, Oklahoma State week 2, Fresno State. That's not bad. Mikey Keene over there. You got a coach over there that knows how to coach football games in the Mountain West. I'll tell you that. And then USC, Washington, Utah, UCLA, Oregon. I mean, even Arizona. They get them at home. Feels like the only like really really good team that you're missing on here is Oregon State. Like that. So luckily they draw, but they don't. They also don't draw Stanford either. And that
yeah.
if you're in the Pac-12 and you don't draw Stanford, that's tough. But that's a team that you want to draw on this year, especially. So I lean under. What say you?
Uh, I think five is a really good line. I would say the under just because I think 4-8 is a more better possibility than 6-6. If you're talking about like getting a better line, I think Jaden Rashad, you have no idea what you're gonna get there. Really, there's gonna be a lot of ups and downs. But to be honest, it's a really interesting schedule because you do have 8 home games, right? So like, and coaching, you just assume is gonna take a huge upgrade and improvement on both sides of the ball, and player buy-in hopefully is better. They got a bunch of 50 new people, like you said, are coming in. I think Arizona State, I was expecting them to be in a lot worse shape than I found them out to be. Right, I was expecting to be like a pretty brutal roster situation, and it's not great. Obviously, Kenny Dillingham has his work cut out for him, but it's definitely an interesting game. I'm gonna say push. I think 5 wins is kind of where they're gonna be at.
Yeah, and the spring game wasn't ugly. I'll say that, and that's a credit to Dillingham and his staff there. It was not is okay. It's not as ugly as I thought it was going to be. So
Mm.
credit to him there.